Have you ever heard of a place where humans are no longer treated as humans? A hidden location in northeastern China where screams echo every night, yet no one dares to go near. This was not just a military outpost. It masqueraded as a medical research facility, but in truth, it was a death factory, a laboratory where humans were treated not by name, but a cold term, maruta, meaning wooden logs, something to be cut, burned, and discarded. Its name? Unit 731. And this is one of the darkest, most horrifying stories ever born from World War II. In the 1930s, East Asia was in turmoil. Japan, aiming to expand its empire, invaded Manchuria in 1931. From that invasion arose the puppet state of Manchukuo, fully controlled by Tokyo. For Japan, Manchukuo was more than new territory. It was a strategic base to extend power across Asia. Yet behind its military ambitions lay an even more dangerous plan. In the midst of this imperial drive emerged a young doctor, Shiro Ishii. Ishii was brilliant, ambitious, and dangerously visionary. He believed that the weapons of the future were not bombs or bullets, but something invisible, biological weapons. In a military meeting, he said with cold conviction, "Imagine, Your Majesty, we don't need to send thousands of soldiers to conquer a city. Just release a bacterium. Let the plague do the work. The enemy will collapse without resistance." Initially, the generals were silent. The idea sounded insane, even cruel. Yet in wartime logic, insane ideas often seem brilliant. Emperor Hirohito approved, and from that approval, a secret project was born. Unit 731, officially called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Unit, a name that sounded noble, hiding a true hell. In Harbin, Manchukuo stood a sprawling complex with barbed wire, guard towers, and massive iron gates. From the outside, it looked like a standard medical facility, but anyone who entered knew the grim truth. Daily, military trucks arrived carrying prisoners with blindfolded eyes and bound hands. They were not just enemy soldiers. There were men, women, even children. All were called by one term, maruta, wooden logs. Inside the barracks, young Japanese doctors wrote reports, sipped tea, and joked as if it were an ordinary day. Ha ha ha! Yet they knew their tasks: dissect humans alive, infect them with disease, test biological weapons. For them, it was not a crime, it was research. Meanwhile, in the dark, cramped cells, prisoners barely received food and sunlight. Every time a cell door opened, bodies trembled. Few ever returned. One of them was a 17-year-old Chinese teenager named Li Wei. Arrested on the street, thrown into a truck, brought into the complex. On his first night, he heard long, agonizing screams from the next cell, screams of a woman, followed by the clinking of metal, then silence. He covered his ears, but the sound haunted his dreams.
Shiro Ishii rarely dirtied his hands. He walked the corridors with hands behind his back, giving cold instructions. If a young doctor hesitated, he would simply say, "Do not see them as humans. They are just data, maruta, firewood." From these words, the conscience of the staff slowly died. The Unit 731 complex included operating rooms, refrigeration chambers, high-pressure rooms, isolation cells, and crematoriums. The smell of burning flesh often filled the air. Experiment 1. Vivisection. Li Wei was forced onto an operating table, his wrists and ankles tied with leather straps. He screamed and begged. Japanese doctors simply noted, "Subject 23, male, 17, healthy." Without anesthesia, a scalpel cut his abdomen. Blood flowed, screams muffled by a gag. The doctors recorded heartbeat, blood loss, and nerve response. Experiment 2. Frostbite. A young woman named Mei Lin was forced outside at -20 degrees. Her hands were submerged in icy water and exposed to the Siberian wind. After an hour, her hands froze like logs. Doctors struck her with sticks. Crack! The sound of splintering flesh. They smiled, satisfied. Hoo hoo hoo. Experiment 3. High pressure. Prisoners were placed in pressurized chambers. Within minutes, organs ruptured from within. All meticulously recorded, as if this were a normal scientific report.
Unit 731 was not just a lab, it was the largest biological weapons factory of its time. In massive hangars, steel drums contained anthrax, plague, cholera, and dysentery. Scientists monitored temperature to keep bacteria alive. The next morning, Japanese planes flew low over a small village near Harbin. Ceramic bombs were dropped, not explosives, but plague-infested fleas. Villagers looked up, thinking it was food. The insects spread, biting bodies. Day 1, children developed fevers. Day 2, black boils appeared. Day 3, the village became a living grave. In the headquarters, doctors recorded average death 3 days, extremely effective. A young doctor whispered, "But they are civilians." Senior doctor replied coldly, "They are not human. They are test tools. Japan needs this to win the war." By 1945, the United States had dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Soviet troops advanced rapidly into Manchuria. Panic engulfed Unit 731. Documents were burned, laboratories destroyed, thousands of prisoners executed to erase evidence. Even children were not spared. Screams filled the corridors. Some scientists still conducted last-minute experiments. Prisoners were gassed, injected with viruses, and their deaths logged. Human life reduced to numbers. When the Soviets arrived, what they found was not a military base, but a human slaughterhouse.
trenches full of corpses, blood-stained walls, glass jars with preserved organs. A Soviet officer said, "This is not war. This is scientific massacre."
Ironically, many Unit 731 scientists were never tried. The United States ignored their crimes in exchange for experimental data. Shiro Ishii lived freely, opened a clinic, taught, and died without punishment. Meanwhile, thousands of victims disappeared without a name, without a grave. Today, the Unit 731 building stands as a museum in Harbin. Some visitors report smelling strange odors or hearing chains dragged in empty hallways, as if the spirits of the victims are still waiting, demanding justice that never came. This is the story of Unit 731, one of the darkest chapters in human history, a place where science was used not to save lives, but to take them. So the question remains, can we still call the perpetrators scientists? Has the world truly learned from this horror? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold dark history stories, because only by remembering can we prevent such nightmares from happening again.